All right, soon we'll be investigating the JFK assassination and retracing steps. First, get some facts straight about important aspects of the Oswald assassination. Because Oswald was assassinated, or he was mortally or fatally wounded. Well, he was fatally killed, I guess you could say. It was a fatal wound by Jack Ruby. But on the day of the assassination of John F. Kennedy, Oswald had to do something very, very difficult, which was pull off 3 shots in succession, 2 landing and killing President John F. Kennedy on November 22nd of 1963 at around 12:30 p.m. right after lunch. We're going to start on the opposite side of the Texas Book Depository building. I've made a drawing here. This is the rear corner behind the building. I don't know the exact times of what we're talking about, but I know the fatal shot happened at 12:30 p.m. because that happened in the public because of Abraham Zapruder, which had a Bell and Howell 8mm Zoomatic color home movie camera and recorded the assassination at about 12:30 p.m. Now, we are going to go there eventually and show the stairwell where Oswald descended from on the 6th floor, going down to the 2nd floor. And the first sighting of Oswald was done by a Dallas police officer by the name of M.L. Baker. I believe the first name was like Marion or something like that. M.L. Baker. Now, he was the first person to see Lee Harvey Oswald after assassination of the president. And Baker was riding a motorcycle behind the press car of the motorcade. Don't pay attention to that 319. There's a reason for that, and I'll get to that later. That was actually in the Warren Report, how it was written exactly. This is where I'm taking this is from the Warren Report that is kept in a safe in Washington, D.C. This is an important factor about the assassination of John F. Kennedy, and also it can tie into some conspiracy theories because of this Dallas police officer named M.L. Baker. Now, a few moments, either before or maybe after, there was a strong wind that was reported in the Warren Report. And the wind blew M.L. Baker off the seat of his motorcycle, nearly causing him to fall into the street. But he's able to regain his balance and hang on to the motorcycle. He pulled the motorcycle behind the rear corner behind the building. Now, this is not going to be in the southeast corner, but on the opposite side of the southeast corner. That's what this drawing is right here. And M.L. Baker spotted Oswald and drew his gun on him, telling him to stay put. They were brought back, or he brought Oswald back into the building where the police officer was confronted by Lee Harvey Oswald's boss of the book depository building. So the boss told M.L. Baker, told the police officer, that Lee Harvey Oswald was actually an employee, which was true. Lee Harvey Oswald did work for the Texas Book Depository in Dallas. And then he holstered his gun, the police officer holstered his gun and said to carry on, which allowed Lee Harvey Oswald to exit the front of the northeast side of the Texas Book Depository building. Now, Oswald bought a gun. It was a long gun. Fusil d'Infanteria, Modella 91-/38, a model 1891/1938, manufactured Royal Arms Factory in Tenay, Italy, or Tenay, Italy for Italian majors. Tenay, Italy is 1940, bolt action model 91. Oswald purchased the long gun in an alias, A. Heidel. This alias would be used again. It was a mail order purchase, 6.5 times 52 millimeter, Carcano Model 38, which we're familiar with the movie JFK with Kevin Costner. Infantry carbine magazine, fed telescopic sight, which is in the Warren Report. Also, Oswald ordered a revolver handgun by mail using A. Heidel alias. He rented it from a P.O. box, or he actually rented a P.O. box, number 2915 in Dallas, Texas, which we will see if we can revisit this P.O. box or find out exactly where it was, because I have a feeling that this P.O. box has been destroyed. This was done on October 9th of 1962. We know that from the United States Postal Mail. The revolver was a Smith & Wesson Victory model, a .38 special revolver from Seaport Traders of LA, California, but he used the alias A.J. Heidel. So he changed the name of the alias while ordering the Smith & Wesson Victory. Now, if this was done by a conspiracy team, that could have been a mistake. Because if we know that the long gun was purchased under A. Heidel, and then all of a sudden the revolver was purchased under A.J. Heidel, it could have been done by two different people, all going to a P.O. box. There's the first clue to the conspiracy theory, that the long gun was purchased under A. Heidel and the .38 special was purchased under A.J. Heidel. Why would he change the name of the alias? Which we know this from the United States Postal Mail, which will solve the case of the assassination of JFK, which may not have been done by Lee Harvey Oswald. The first proof, A.J. Heidel as opposed to A. Heidel. People will usually stick to their alias religiously, especially if they're going to plan an assassination. They're going to use the same alias because that doesn't make any sense. Okay. Back then, Oswald was a very poor man, very poor. And he had a servant's job working in this Texas book depository building. When he purchased the revolver alone, it cost him $29.95, which today's standard is equivalent to $265 in 2021. But he bought the revolver in 1963. In fact, he rented the P.O. box, which cost even more money, not more than $29.95, but it still cost him money to rent the P.O. box October 9th of 1962, and he purchased an Italian rifle, which would have cost 2 to 3 times the amount of the revolver. Either he was getting the funding by someone to do this, or those guns were purchased by an organization who made a very big mistake by ordering the revolver under A.J. Heidel as opposed to A. Heidel. There's a difference. All crimes, especially murders and things like that, usually in one way or another have a paper trail. Okay? Here's A. Heidel. Now, this is reported in the United States Postal Mail under a P.O. box. A.J. Heidel. Do the math. Now, was Oswald planning on not to be caught? Now, if he was planning on being caught, of course, he would have just used Oswald or Lee Harvey Oswald. L.H. Oswald or something. And where did he get the name Heidel? And why would he use the name Heidel? One more aspect to this possible conspiracy theory. Why did Oswald purchase an Italian-style rifle that was manufactured in Tenay, Italy, when he had no training with this type of rifle? He was trained with an M14 because Lee Harvey Oswald was a Marine. He was trained as a United States Marine. They do not train with a bolt-action gun like that. They have no special training in that at all. Do the research. Look into do the research of the Marines. They do not purchase rifles from Italy. There's a lot of loose ends. But we're saying maybe Oswald did do it. But I think, from what I'm looking at, that Oswald had funding. And if he was given money by an organization to buy these expensive items, like a .38 special revolver and a very fancy bolt-action Model 91 with a telescopic scope. It was an infantry carbine magazine-fed gun. That was a very fancy gun back then and was very expensive. And remember, he already spent $29.95, which was the same as $265. This one probably would have cost him an equivalent of something maybe like $500. Maybe even $1,000 by today's standard. That's an extra $1,200, maybe even $1,300, $1,400 that he would need. And the P.O. box, too, with 2 different names. It looks a little sloppy. But nevertheless, he probably did it. And we'll be visiting these sites soon.